Good morning. So good morning to all our young and our senior friends. So what you see on your screen is actually the first of the slides that I will be going through in this approximately 1 hour of presentation, where I will actually talk about our new BTech program in artificial intelligence. So approximately the first 45 to 50 minutes I will present, and then we will have discussions on various issues and questions that you can be having, and we will talk about them. Now, what you see in front is right now, I think many of you would have already come to our institute, Mahindra Ecole Central, which has just become Mahindra University. But by the way, as far as I understand, university is the overall university. Mahindra Ecole Central remains the engineering institution. So what you see here is the building of Mahindra University as of now. Okay. So in my presentation, the first few slides, I will speak about generalities and then start focusing on the specifics of AI at our institute. So here we go. Just one second. Yes. Now, so artificial intelligence is the future of growth. So I think today, at least for the past few years, maybe past 3-4 years, AI has been the top of the hype of media, and we will actually critically analyze that media hype aspect also. But then it remains true that AI is the new factor of production, capital and labor. New factor of production, and capital and labor alone cannot drive sufficient growth. So AI can help in doubling annual economic growth rates, boosting labor productivity, shorten the timeline to growth. So there can potentially be a lot of questions on labor productivity and all that, and we will actually have kept a few slides towards the end just in case we get specific questions. But then generally we expect that AI is going to help in all these three factors: double the economic growth rates, or rather significantly increase economic growth rates, boost labor productivity, shorten the timeline to growth. And what do we mean by there are different manifestations of artificial intelligence. So one of them is intelligent automation. So adapt and flex to automate complex tasks, work across multiple industries or roles, and self-learn for repeatability at scale. Then we have innovation diffusion. So complement technologies from new collaborations, create new revenue streams from data generated, and social benefits as well. Just give me 1 second. Then we have labor and capital augmentation. So help humans to focus on adding value, complement and enhance human ability, and improve capital efficiency. So these are actually some sort of generics related to artificial intelligence. So today, actually, as you know, that the world is going through a bit of a crisis, and that crisis is of course manifested in the economy as well. So we expect that this is going to be sort of greatly, if this COVID related thing was not there, even then AI would have significantly helped most of the countries of the world to significantly ramp up their growth rates. And with COVID, which already gives us a depression, that is even having a significant impact, or that is going to have a further impact on improving the world's economy down the line. So in particular, looking at Indian conditions, we have, when we say solve for India, I am getting a little bit of disturbance on my screen. So solve for India means solve for 40% or more of the world by AI as a service from India. And actually, when we say we are going to work out AI solutions for India, it means actually increased access to quality health facilities, including addressing the locational access barriers, inclusive financial growth for large sections of population excluded from formal financial products, real-time advisory to farmers, and help address unforeseen factors towards increasing productivity, and building smart and efficient cities and infrastructure to meet the demands of rapidly urbanizing population. Now, please appreciate that we must understand that whenever we talk of AI, it is not just hi-fi things related to, like people trying to sort of have a breakthrough in image processing or natural language processing and things like that. There are very down-to-earth real improvements that we can carry out for our country as well. Okay. So it is projected that by 2023, it was just about 3 years down the line, about 110 million workers need to be reskilled on AI, and 133 million new jobs in AI will be created. And in particular, if you look at the AI talent development initiatives, I'm not going to read out from here, but you find that we are talking of, say, 3 or 4 major economies, like US, for example, has given huge funds for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, focusing on computer science, matched by a US $300 million industry grant. Then in China, we have 5-year university program to train at least 500 teachers and 5,000 students working on AI technologies, and so on and so forth. So almost every country is giving significant importance to develop its local AI talent. And AI talent can be all the way from basic AI-enabled workers all the way to AI product creators or AI systems creators, which means a lot of sophistication and knowledge within this field. So in this context, now let us try to see what we are trying to do here. We are trying to start, or we are starting, a BTech program in artificial intelligence at Mahindra Ecole. So the question is, how did we come to get this? Are we starting it just because everybody else is starting? The answer is no. And we will soon see that we are actually doing this very rational, and it is going to have very significant down the line thought process, which actually gives rise to this. So why are we starting this? What are the motivations? Let's see. So we in 2019, we at MEC created a vision document for MEC at 2025. And the key statements in the guidelines to that vision document are the following. First, we have the sectors of technology with the fastest moving frontiers in terms of techno-commercial impact at the global level need to be perceived, and consequently, institutions need to identify the subject areas that will have major impact in the next 1 or 2 decades. Now, any institution has to carry out this exercise. It really wants to be in the frontiers of technology and of its field. And we too have done this exercise. In the next few slides, we will try to see how artificial intelligence emerged at the top from the above analysis. That is, from the statement that institutions need to identify the subject areas that will have major impact in the next 1 or 2 decades. And we actually converge on AI as one of those top areas which is going to influence this. Now, many of you would have heard of, although I'm not very sure how many of you will be fully aware of, something called as the Gartner Hype Cycle. The Gartner Hype Cycle for emerging technologies is released every year by a management consultancy firm called Gartner. There are quite a few management consultancy firms, so Gartner is one of the most prominent among them. So it illustrates the major phases through which an emerging technology passes from conceptualization to productionization. It is used as a reference for R&D divisions within global corporates to plan and evaluate their technology development programs. So let us see how it looks. So this Gartner Hype Cycle for emerging technologies actually has got 5 phases. You see, whenever a technology actually is conceived, we call it as a technology trigger. Conceived means, of course, not in someone's brain, but actually, let's say that is taken up for research and development at some stage, at some place. Right. We call it as a technology trigger. the technology trigger may very quickly lead to media hype. Then what happens is people start talking about, people everywhere start discussing about it. And then that technology goes to what is called as a peak of inflated expectations. And then from the peak of inflated expectations, it actually comes down very soon. I mean, how soon is also depending on a lot of other parameters on the trough of disillusionment. All right. And then from the trough of disillusionment is when the media says, oh, we have heard of this quite a lot, so this is just overhyped something. All right. Then it is the people who are working behind the scenes, who are no longer coming in the media, who are actually gradually developing the technology. The technology development cycle is going on according to its own momentum. And then the slope of enlightenment finally leads to what is called as the plateau of productivity, where the thing is manifested in industry, in society, in various other ways, which are productive to civilization as a whole. Okay, so this from the technology, so you can say the peak of inflated in expectations to plateau of productivity could be anywhere from say 3 years to 5 years or maybe even more. All right, so let's see, why did I speak about Gartner Hype Cycle? Let's see. So before proceeding further, let me just make a broad statement that artificial intelligence today is like an umbrella. We hear lots of things, but it actually covers many existing and emerging technologies, like, for example, machine learning, deep learning, autonomous systems, natural language processing, medical imaging, smart industry, computational genomics, big data, and many other things. Never in the past has it happened that a specific technology, in this case artificial intelligence, has been at the peak of Gartner's hype cycle for full 5 years in a row. In fact, nothing has been there even for, no other technology has been there for even 3 years in a row. Now this is shown in the next 2 slides. Here, I'm showing you Gartner's hype cycle for emerging technology in 2014. Now you see, this is, earlier I just gave you the generic form of this. So you see that at the top you have things like natural language question answering, Internet of Things. Then you have things like complex event processing, speech-to-speech translation, autonomous vehicles. So these are actually, they are all related to, they all come within the umbrella, more or less, excepting probably wearable user interfaces or consumer 3D printing. Almost all of them come within the umbrella of artificial intelligence. All right. This is 2014. Now let us look at 2019. Actually, I'm trying to show you 2018. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 are 5 years. I'm not showing you the intermediate ones primarily because you'll start getting bored with seeing more and more Gartner hype cycles. 2018, we have deep neural networks at the top. Again, digital twins, which are strongly related to artificial intelligence in some sense. All right, and things like virtual assistants and so on. You find that for full 5 years, of course, I have not shown the intermediate ones, as I said, as the artificial intelligence and its various branches have been at the top of the Gartner hype cycle. In 2019, which I'm not showing, first time you have something else which came to the top of the Gartner hype cycles, and that is basically 5G. All right. So what really means is that artificial intelligence has gone past the hype cycle now, and another 4 or 5 years, precisely the time that if you are joining artificial intelligence BTech program, that is the time when you will find artificial intelligence actually getting manifested in different aspects of industry, society, in overall civilizational aspects. All right, and that is the time when the demand is really going to increase more and more and more. All right. Now we will look quickly at a few other lateral parameters related to the explosion of what we call as the explosion of AI all around. We are not going into the causes of why AI has exploded. That can make one full 1 hour presentation again. Here we are talking of this is just again one of the signs that AI is rapidly growing. You see now from 2010 to 2018, we are showing you the AI or machine learning, the percentage of computing PhD graduates. That means those who have completed PhD, what percentage of them are actually in the field of AI. All right. So in fact, you see that we have gone up from around 12%, something like 22%. So it's increased by about 10%, which is actually quite a significant number considering the totality of all PhDs. Now look at this one. This is a completely different thing. So here we are looking at industries. And in industries or corporates, let's say not industries very specifically, but we can call them as industries. So you look at the 2 charts, actually one is the left and the one is right. So AI capability is embedded in at least one function or business unit. So here you find that across countries, now you see also 218 to 2018 to 2019. You find that globally from 47% to 58% it is advanced. In some countries it is advanced more. Say for example, Latin America or developed Asia Pacific. You look at India, it has just moved from 50 to 58. All right. And you look at, this is just another form of this. This was AI capabilities embedded in at least one function or business unit in a company. And here you have AI capabilities embedded in multiple functions of business units. And that, of course, it will be less. But then here again, you find that India's growth is really much less compared to the rest of the world. So the question is, why is India's growth low? So the answer for that is that, is it because of India's low supply of adequately qualified manpower? So that means, what it means really is that probably because India does not have sufficient number or sufficient supply of adequately qualified AI practitioners, we are seeing that there is a sort of a constriction or a bottleneck in the spread of AI across Indian institutions or particularly Indian industry. Okay, and that means there is a significant demand, there's going to be a significant demand down the line of AI practitioners. Let's look at some other lateral signs. So this is about share of jobs requiring AI skills. Now here you'll find that I am showing only up to 2018, which means these are actuals, these are not projections. And what you find here is we're looking at three countries. So the light blue one is for US, which is relatively stable. UK and Canada shows more fluctuations. But the point is that on the y-axis you have the X, that is there's the share of job market, how many times this particular field has grown. So you have something like whatever it was 1x at 2013. From that 2013 share, it has grown anything like 5 times to 10 times to even more in different developed countries. All right. So you can expect that a similar trend would also be taking place in India. If not now, then maybe in the next few years. And as I showed in that plateauing of the Gartner hype cycle, that is only going to increase down the years. All right. Now let us take a little turn. And you see, we have so far seen what I was talking about are the motivations for a person to take up AI. Now let us come back to our Mahindra Ecole. Then I would just like to see or try to show you the way we went about creating the sort of the program that we have in artificial intelligence, the thought processes behind it. So our aim is that students emerging from this course should have the ability to fit into any of the multifaceted application areas of AI, which we call as themes or channels. And they should have sufficient depth of the fundamentals as well as methods of execution in the respective theme areas. When we try to create these students, we have to, so when we say fundamentals, it really means that it is not just that you are able to execute certain things. It is that if you are trying to take up new things, whether it is research and development, whether it is building new products, your fundamentals should be sound enough from where you can actually take it as a platform and go ahead to create new things. All right. So we actually looking at both. So one is the depth in terms of the fundamentals, as well as the day-to-day execution in the respective areas, or which we are going to call as themes. Now, I'd just like to state here that the way we went about deciding on our program is that we first identified these theme areas. Now, these theme areas that we identified are not necessarily those which seem to be shining a lot at this time right at this day and age. I mean, I would say right at this day and year, because we also need to project how the technology is going to evolve and how the themes are going to shift from less importance to more importance, and possibly also into eclipse of importance over the next 5 years or over the next 10 years. All right. So what we are projecting is possibly what is going to be the situation in the next 5 or 10 years. And around that period, what are likely to be the dominant theme areas, or you can say the channels, or the main, you can say focus areas of artificial intelligence. And it is based on that we are trying to create our course structure which is going to give you depth in those areas. In the next few slides, first the theme areas, application channels are identified, and then the background courses. So this we are not going to do. I'm not going to discuss about then the background domain courses followed by the specialized courses are simply outlined. We will not go into the details of the course or program or curriculum. Right. Okay. So let me get into these one by one. So we'll start looking at different theme areas now. So the first theme area is what we call as machine vision. So in this area, what are the background domain courses? So I think I don't have to tell about what is machine vision. So this is, I mean, you can easily understand that anything which when we say vision, it need not be purely related to sight. It can also be related to other kinds of sensors. All right, it can be infrared sensors, it can be ultrasound sensors. So any of these sensors are actually, you can say they will come within the ambit of what we are calling as machine vision. But then of course, predominantly it is related to image processing. So one of the background domain courses for this will be digital image processing. Now, I do not intend to read through the details of each course because, as I said, it does not make much point, and also probably I'll have to get into discussion of really make much sense. So the background domain course for this is digital image processing. The specialized course for this is convolutional neural networks. So I think you do not, I mean, I can actually talk about CNNs, but I think probably I'll rather wait for you to come in contact with us and join us, and then we can discuss more about what are convolutional nets. However, the course content for this is what you see here. Okay. So like, you can probably have a look through them, but I'm not really going to either read them or discuss them in details. So the important thing in this slide is machine vision. The background domain course is digital image processing. Specialized courses, CNN. All right. Next, we talk of natural language processing. Now, today, NLP is probably the field or the specialization or the theme area which makes the maximum sound bites in media, right? Or whatever, we can call it as sound bites, or you can call it as text bites or whatever. So, I mean, within AI, this is probably the most popular. So, but that, I mean, I'm not saying that it could very well remain the most popular after 10 years, but just remember that these things could also shift. So the background domain course for this is Foundations of Natural Language Processing, right? And the specialized course for this would be Computational Sequence Modeling, where computational sequence modeling actually consists of all of these various areas. But fundamentally, when we talk of sequence modeling, it actually, when we talk of sequence modeling, we refer to really, you can broadly divide it into two parts. One is those sequences which are like time series, which are actually advancing in regular time intervals. And then you have those sequences which are not time series. So like, for example, a sentence, right? Or some kind of a set of paragraphs. So some kind of or let us say a video. Now, video can be also conceived as a time series because it is advancing in finite time or fixed time intervals for a specific video case. All right. So you can have a look at, these are the subjects that we'll talk about. And in fact, for all of these, we have taken care that we are looking at the latest developments in the field as well. So this slide, we have talked about natural language processing, the foundations of NLP, and computational sequence modeling. All right. Another important theme area is what we call as robotics and autonomous systems. So like, when you hear of autonomous cars and everything, okay, that of course belongs to autonomous systems. But in a sense, you'll be surprised that even in natural language processing, we do automation of operations. I mean, it is also called as, in some sense, it is looked at as robotic process automation. So here, the background domain course for that is Introduction to Robotics as Interdisciplinary Systems. So you have to keep in mind that when we talk of a field like this, you need experts, or you would have seen that in many of these fields, you'll be surprised that there are a whole lot of other domains that actually impact on them. Like, for example, if you talk of natural language processing, you will have to have some idea of grammar, and you'll have to have some idea of maybe literature and language. All right. When you talk of machine vision, of course, you'll have to have idea of not only image processing, you'll also have to have idea of sensors and things like that. When you talk of robotics and interdisciplinary systems, now robotics as interdisciplinary systems, you will find that there are lots of different areas that come into place. So there will be some amount of mechanics, there will be some amount of video processing, some amount of sensors and the sensor data fusion, some amount of uncertainty modeling and decision making, and then of course some amount of control theory as well. Now this is the Introduction to Robotics as Interdisciplinary System, which is the background domain course. And then in specialized course, you have got reinforcement learning. Now reinforcement learning actually is something which like we generally talk about different kinds of learning. So many of you would have heard about what is called as supervised learning, unsupervised learning. So reinforcement learning is the third. Now reinforcement learning is actually the most natural way of learning, where one learns from experiences. So if you go back to your own life, go back to your child, I mean, all of you, when you learned certain things, you essentially learned them through a process of what is called as reward and penalty. That means if you do something, you are learning to do something. If you do something correctly, people appreciate you. All right, you get a reward. If you do something wrong, you get a scolding maybe, or you fall down and hurt yourself or something like that. It's a penalty. And in this way, you actually learn. So this is the most natural form of learning, which does not use data explicitly like in supervised or unsupervised learning, but uses data in an oblique way, which of course does get into the process as well. So, and reinforcement learning, when we talk of autonomous systems, it is really the reinforcement learning that is at the heart of these autonomous systems. Okay. Now, just give me a second. Okay, anyway, so let me continue. So we are now here talking about robotics and autonomous systems as the third theme, and we have talked about the Introduction to Robotics as Interdisciplinary Systems as the background domain course, reinforcement learning as the specialized course. Now we move on to the next theme. So here we talk about bioinformatics. Now, bioinformatics is something which probably you don't really hear about much, excepting that in the last 3 months, for obvious reasons, you have been hearing more about it. But generally, people have been talking less about it as compared to, say, natural language processing or even about autonomous vehicles, right? Now, but we expect that down the years, this will be one of the dominant themes of AI, all right? So here, the background domain course is what we call as computational biology. So I'll not get into the details. And what we call a specialized course is computational genomics or gene editing and things like that. Which, so like, you know, this is a field where which is gradually specializing and getting into more and more into AI. And we do not have too many practitioners, so we have to build up this area significantly. So this is computational genomics. This is the fourth theme area that we are talking about. All right. Then we move on to the next major area, which we call as smart industry. What do you mean by smart industry? So smart industry really, like if you look at the evolution of industry as a whole, particularly if you talk of manufacturing and process industries, as well as maybe vehicle oriented processes or systems. So I mean, there have been different major stages of automation. So in fact, I would say that if you go back to the history of the Industrial Revolution, the very first beginning of the Industrial Revolution was called as Industry 1. Can be called in retrospect. Of course, those days nobody called it like that. So it was called as Industry 1.0. Then the second major phase or turnaround for industry was with the assembly line, all right, which came up in particular in the automobile industry in the US. I mean, many of you know about it, and then it spread all throughout. and that is called as Industry 2.0. Then we had Industry 3.0, which is basically using computers and automation for various kinds of control systems for monitoring and control of various kinds of industry. And then Industry 4.0 is actually, you can say, the application of Internet of Things. So where you have kind of diffused sensors and very efficient networks, as well as processing units at different levels from the edge, that is close to the ground, close to the sensors, all the way up to clouds. And correspondingly also, we are doing this processing mainly to improve the processes, which means improved monitoring, improved control, as well as improved optimization of systems and processes. So for that, actually, again, there is a significant contribution of AI, because all the algorithms, ultimately, hardware is going to connect everything. The thing is that how do you improve? And for that improvement, you need artificial intelligence. So there again, the background domain courses are signals and systems. Then we have, so this is like a typical course that is taught in second year or third year levels. Then we have control theory, which is actually one of the basic foundations of engineering, but somehow the significance of control theory is not fully appreciated by a lot of our engineers. There is a lot of scope for people to understand, and anyone who understands control theory, the perspective on looking at things throughout the world for that particular. Okay, so this is again standard course syllabus, but then we also introduce fuzzy control and related stability analysis that will be incorporated in the control theory syllabus. Then we have convex optimization, which I think most of you will be able to understand or appreciate. And then we have AI integrated Internet of Things. So this is exactly what I was talking about. So the 3 background courses for this. Specialized courses, AI integrated Internet of Things. And again, I'll prefer not to read through point by point, but you can have a quick look at it. So let's move on to the next theme. We have so far seen, I think altogether we have seen 5. Next is what we call as cybersecurity. This is again something which is having a lot of impact today, because anyone who wants to do anything has to be secure first and foremost. It has to be sure that its data, its techniques, its methods are all, or even its strategies, its tactics are all sort of kept secure. And for that, in today's world, it is very important that we have network security. So one of the background domain courses for this is cryptography and network security, and specialized courses, one from either of the 2 electives, that is Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies, or principles of cybersecurity. So these are the broad 6 theme areas that we have been referring to. And then we will just look at the overall picture, how it makes any sense, or does it make any sense at all. So we have BTech in artificial intelligence, and the main theme areas, as we saw, machine vision, natural language processing, bioinformatics, cybersecurity, smart industry, robotics, and autonomous systems. So actually these arrows could have been both ways. So machine vision, BTech in artificial intelligence implies we learn machine vision, and learning machine vision means it contributes, or it's a component or part of BTech in artificial intelligence. All right. So then we move on a little bit to the details of the courses. Of course, here again, whenever we get into details, there's a lot of issue of precisely what background we're starting with. So broadly, let's look at the overall ideas. So AI core is machine vision, NLP, robotics, autonomous systems, smart industry, cybersecurity. I have temporarily kept the bioinformatics in the electives because we would anticipate that is true at this point in time. And if we are if the field advances significantly, we'll actually make it as a regular aspect also of the AI program. Now in the AI core, it is significantly it is significantly supported by a lot of other related branches or domains. So one of the significant branches is mathematics, and in particular, areas like multivariate calculus, linear algebra and matrices, probability and statistics. Discrete mathematics as well as numerical methods are the aspects of mathematics that will contribute to the AI core. Now you see, if you recall one of my early statements when I started, we were talking about what we said is that we want to build the foundations in a very solid fashion. And a lot of this foundation actually comes from many of these areas that we have got here. Okay, so while AI core is actually the advancing front, the basic foundations come from all of them. So please do not think that, why are we studying all of these? They all contribute significantly to building up the foundations, which is going to lead to a compact AI engineer or scientist, or you can say a practitioner who has got fundamental base strong and also knows precisely how to go about executing things. And just keep in mind that in AI, there's a lot of dynamics. Like the frontiers are changing rapidly. All right, one always has to be on one's toes to be able to appreciate or be able to understand what others are talking about in this field, and so that you don't become outdated within a couple of years. All right, so one has to always move with the times while keeping the foundations at a very strong level. And it is both that we try to do in our BTech program. So foundations. So foundational programs are foundations of natural language processing, signals and systems, control theory. We talked about these, digital image processing, artificial, we didn't talk about these. So these will be taken up in the second year, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Among electives, I've just written a few, there could be many more. So we have computational biology, computational genomics. We can have information retrieval and related to, information retrieval. Then we have Bitcoins and cryptocurrency. So all these, with quite a few others, I mean, it's a space that is the inhibition could have been written here. All right, next. We have, I'll probably, okay, anyway, so let me come because I'm going round. So let's have humanities, and I put it as humanities plus. So we saw that English and humanities, on the one hand, there are some direct links as we saw in the area of natural language processing. However, we at MEC look upon humanities and social sciences with a little bit more importance than done generally, because we feel that humanities actually create or sort of give or catalyze or feed into the creative aspects of the human mind. And if these aspects are actually properly nurtured, then again, the same person, because we are looking when a BTech engineer, when he graduates after 4 years, he will have a career ahead of him, he or she, of course, will have a career ahead of him or her for about 40 years down the line. Okay. And then what kind of a person he is, what is his personality, how does he interact with others, how does he look upon the world, does he have a novel way of looking at everything, does he think laterally? These aspects will really be nurtured if we have the right kind of humanities courses. So apart from humanities, we have got one course called Media Project, which significantly contributes. And this is not only the media project, we also have design thinking, which has not come here. So this design thinking, media project, all these things, they actually contribute to the building up also, or the sort of nurturing those aspects which I mentioned are essential to create a human being who is the most productive throughout his or her career. All right. Then we have some other things like earth and environmental sciences, the introduction to enterprise and economy, which are also quite important, because many of the things that you do, they can potentially be patented, and then actually we can actually have small enterprises coming out of them. And this is where you also have to get some kind of understanding that how these things can be done. Computer science is one of the baseline courses, and in fact, AI is actually can be looked upon as some kind of a growth out of computer science. So some of the baseline courses are introduction to C and Python. Then we have data structures, we have design and analysis of algorithms, we have computer architecture. So these are the hardware aspects, operating systems. Okay, they relate to the hardware. Then we have database management systems and big data. So big data is also in some way related to what we call as information retrieval. So all these things are also coming from computer science. And we are not stressing on too many languages. So we'll have to see what we may be able to fit in 1 or 2 more courses, including object-oriented programming. So we'll have to look at, this is just a small list, and there are other subjects also which have not been explicitly stated here. Now, just as mathematics is one of the foundations of an AI BTech program, Similarly, natural sciences and electronics is also another foundation. All right. So we actually have, we are compared to other BTech programs, we pay a little more importance to natural sciences and of course electronics as well in this particular case. So in natural sciences we have physics, and in physics we have got mechanics. Now mechanics are both classical mechanics as well as quantum mechanics. And you would have seen that there are some areas like, for example, robotics, or even in this industrial applications, this kind of physics-based courses we expect would be able to contribute to a person's foundations. So mechanics, then we have electromagnetics, then we have biochemistry. Now, actually, chemistry is, again, when we talk about overall computational biology. So chemistry and biology, in some extent, are also going to contribute to that. To a significant extent, will contribute to it. Then, of course, electronics and electrical engineering basics are also related to the foundations that we are going to create. So this is more or less what I had to speak. So if you just go back to my complete this thing, initially I just laid out the complete the perspective of why AI is important today and is going to be important down the line. And AI is being taken up rapidly by a lot of throughout the world, across countries, across companies. Then we saw how we conceived the BTech and AI program, which is actually an evolution of our thought process, which in turn contributes to the evolution of our institution. And then BTech and AI was identified as one of the top subjects which we have to take up. And then how we actually created our course by looking at what is going to be the critical theme areas a decade down the line, and then tracing backwards from them into the corresponding courses that is going to feed those corresponding theme areas. Okay, so this is where my my lecture or my speech stops, and I would sort of invite questions, so I can see a whole deluge of questions. Right now, my God, there are quite a few questions. So let me start taking them one by one. So just give me a second. So here we have, in the field of cybersecurity, when we are eligible for CISSP certification. Okay, this person who have asked this question has left, so I don't see much point. And like this was probably asked even before the course started. Okay, anyway. So do we get a separate degree for taking this course, or will we get a Bachelor of Computer Science degree? So the thing is that, well, you will get a BTech in Artificial Intelligence. So now that we have become a university, we have not yet thoroughly discussed about this, but this came up in some forums that can a person also do a minor in some branch. So we, just to answer your question straight, the answer is given in terms of BTech in Artificial Intelligence would be the degree awarded. We have discussed about a minor, have not yet concluded anything. So we'll look forward, look towards more of that. Relation between artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, the answer is yes. Okay, then next. Is that the only difference between taking any major as, is that the only difference between taking any major as CSE or AI, or would there be any difference in subjects? So if you have seen through to the end of my lecture, I think your question is answered. I am not able to hear anyone. Is there any problem with my audio? I think that sir has muted himself. I do not know. I think he says we are able to hear him. Okay, thank you. So this was at 11:34. So I really almost got a heart attack hearing this, that I was talking for 1 hour without anybody listening to me. All right. So how does this dedicated BTech in AI program differ from existing BTech in CSE? Have seen programs in top colleges like BTech in CSE and AI, but whereas your program is dedicated to AI, will it really help to opt AI? That I think the question goes on and on. But the thing is that basically, so we have seen that this is a BTech in Artificial Intelligence, and we do have a significant amount of overlap with CSE. We also have good deal of course contributions from other branches. So if you have seen till the end of my lecture, this question is 11:37. I presume that your question is answered. Okay. Will CSE also have AI as a subject? Will it be a detailed course subject in CSE? Well, the answer is yes, because in the CS program that is currently running, we have got one program subject called machine learning, and then that is a compulsory subject, and you have one subject called deep learning. And we have some related subjects like natural language processing and big data and data analysis related subjects. So that way there are some subjects related to AI also taken up in CSE. Yes. Which program would have more advantage? Which program would have more advantage, CSE or AI? I mean, that probably, after all the information that I've given you, probably you are the best judge. I'm not going to speak about any particular program having advantage or disadvantage over others. Does MEC has adequate infrastructure for dedicated program in AI, as it's a very advanced one? Well, if you let me tell you, I think I should have spoken about this possibly. And you know, we have got a DGX one system, which is probably, I wouldn't say absolute latest, but was the latest in the year 2018, 2019 when we purchased it. It is basically a combination of large number of CPUs along with a large number of GPUs. And I presume since I've asked this question, you know what are GPUs. And apart from the near latest supercomputers that are available anywhere in India, we also have quite a few other servers and other machines which are also top of the line, which are not GPU based but mainly CPU based. So definitely we have got dedicated program. This dedicated program in AI is very advanced and it has got adequate infrastructure. Okay. All right, next. I cannot hear you. Audio is working fine. Kindly check connectivity at your end. Okay. So the connection is also fine. Okay. Now anyway, so what is it that we will learn in this BTech AI course that is not available in the general BTech CSE course? So you see, I think these questions have all been answered, because when in my last slide or second last slide, we had actually covered all of these aspects. So, I think I've already answered most of the elements. I think now we're coming to a stage where many of the questions are repeats. It's well taken in the industry if we have degree in BTech, in CSE and AI. How it's going to be if we have only AI in BTech? When you have a BTech in AI, the understanding is that you have strong foundations in computer science. And you know, like even now I have it open on my screen. I suppose you can see my screen. That you have actually, we have got many of the, probably if you leave out compilers and you leave out some very some theory of some computational theory related courses, I think practically we have got most of the critical or crucial courses in computer science, like operating systems or say database management systems, as well as data structures, algorithms. Probably it was not mentioned in this little list that we have also got design and analysis of algorithms, which is one of the critical computer science courses. So what is the ACT score required for all? So I think someone has already answered this. Okay, now the next question: Can I get AI or CSE for 1140 in SAT? Okay, so the question is answered. Is this course approved for MEC to begin this year? Do you think it is better to do CSE, which is more broad-based, than doing AI in specialization? You know, like it's a bit difficult for me to answer this question. First part of your question is yes, it is approved. Second part is that I mean, if you look at broad-based, then you know, like probably then EEE is even more broad-based. All right. So the question is very simply that we have, I mean, AI also has got a broad base because it covers a lot of techniques, and it has got specializations. It has also got computer science background. It has also got a fairly decent electrical engineering or electronics background. So that way, that's a call that you really have to take. I will not say that don't do that course and do this course. Do you think it's better to take CSE and have AI as an elective? I mean, it's the same related question. Okay. Please post MEC admissions contact number. So I think it's already been posted as an answer. How is AI different from computer science? Again, the same question. So I think I've answered that already. I think most of the questions relate to that. Which theme is maybe best in the future? Well, you know, like it is, see, it's a very difficult, we can talk about 5 years or 10 years into the future. And among these 6 areas that I have identified, it's a sorry, it's a little bit difficult to say exactly which will be the top and which will be second top and which will be third top. All right. So we have looked at about 6, and it could be any of these 6. I do not anticipate something else flying in from somewhere else and becoming the top. Okay. Just you see, some of you who have not been able to hear me, I am just being informed that this is going to be put on YouTube. So if some of you are interested and you want to go through this all over again, certainly you can see that. Some of you could not hear probably for whatever reasons, or you had communication issues. You can actually go through the YouTube whenever it is posted, and I think that will be pretty soon. Okay. Now this is the next question. What is that we will learn in this BTech course that is not available in the general BTech CSE courses? If you ask this question at 12-13, I don't know. I mean, it makes no sense because I already explained what is there in AI, which is not there in CSE. All right. Certification given in CSE or AI, certification given in AI, and the question is already answered. Does AI come under CS? Now I don't know what is meant by under. So, well, you can say that the first people who talked about AI were computer scientists and electrical engineers also. All right. That was the 1950s. So is this course available this year? Yes, it is. Is this course available? Okay, now can we have year-wise syllabus for AI? I have deliberately avoided getting into that detailed year-wise syllabus because partly there will be too much of detail and it is premature to talk about it. If you are so keen on that, you can come and discuss with someone. And there's also that, we are going to have internal discussions to sort of converge on that. So that's the answer. Does AI come under CS or CS come under AI? Why are you so worried about this aspect? I mean, it's a bit difficult to say that they are overlapping sets. All right. So there's a significant amount of intersection. Does operation system like iOS? What is this? Why should I take this instead of? Just now, I think I saw the full question and it is not coming. Just a moment. So why should I take this instead of trying to do MTech in AI? Oh well, I mean, it's a bit difficult to say. You can do an MTech in AI also, I suppose, but the thing is that this is a specialized branch, and when you go into AI, if you do MTech, that will be even more specialization within some subsections of AI. All right. So that is probably my answer to that. And repeatedly the same question, the AI come under CS or CS come under AI, I think I'll skip those questions. Can we do master's degree? The answer is you can do master's degree, yes, but right now we are starting a PhD program. We'll subsequently very soon start master's program as well. What is the master's degree after this course? Well, it could be advanced techniques in 2 or 3 of these theme areas. All right. Does AI, again the same question. When will BTech AI start? It's going to start from this year, as soon as the courses start. Could you please do a comparison between data science and AI? Oh, well, this is a good question actually. Well, strictly speaking, AI and data science are actually used interchangeably in many places. I would say the only difference is that in data science, probably you stress more on data related things, particularly related to finance application. In AI, you will probably give less, or in data science, you may give less importance to areas like, I do not know, but maybe say natural language processing will be having its importance. Maybe machine vision will be less important, but finance probably will be more important. So that it's a question of which course considers which themes to be more critical. I think that's about the difference. But then you will, if you look overall throughout the world, there are people who call their courses data science and are having most of the AI courses, and AI courses, including ours, have got significant amount of contribution from data science. Okay. I think I'm coming to the, let me just pick up some critical questions. How the application study is different in AI courses compared to application study in computation and mathematics? Again, that's a good question. I suppose when you talk of mathematics, you are stressing more on some of the theoretical aspects of computer science, as well as the numerical aspects of mathematics. Whereas here you talk of more down-to-earth application like in smart industry or in robotics and autonomous systems or in machine vision, NLP and data science related. So between the two of them, I would say that computation and mathematics will be more theoretical, more heavy in mathematics, more intense in mathematics, into numerical aspects, algorithms related things, and also theoretical aspects. These are more in the engineering, or you can say the down-to-earth practical aspects. But then there's a lot of theory in these things also, which are related to AI. So you did not mention about the professors and your course curriculum. So, well, you know, like course curriculum, I have not mentioned, but I have actually shown this question of the 1215. So, I mean, I put this, in fact, the slide that is open right now is actually containing the gist of the courses and the contributions. Now, when you talk of curriculum, you really refer to semester-wise, and my intent was never to speak about it. My intent was also not to speak about professors, because that is a very generic kind of thing about Mahindra equals Central. So we have got about, I would say right now, we have got about 6 to 8 faculty who are specialists in artificial intelligence, and we will be very soon incrementing the numbers. And you know, like the first year actually of the program, as it starts, we will be having many common courses. But by the time we go to second year, there'll be more specialized courses in AI, and by that time, we are going to have even more faculty in these areas. Placement opportunities for this course. So, well, you know, even today, a good number of our students are getting in computer science who are getting placed in areas related to AI. All right. And what is going to happen is, now, if you have appreciated, if you're there from the beginning, I did talk about how AI is actually increasing more, and the share of AI in overall industry and employment is increasing more and more, in research is increasing more and more. And from a theoretical standpoint, or from a, you can say from a intuitive standpoint, you will also see that if you look at the Gartner hype cycle, what is at a peak today is going to become the most productive towards the entire society and civilization after some 5 years. So that is where your placement opportunities will automatically get manifested. All right. So certainly for you, there are very good placement opportunities if you join today. All right. Okay. Can I minor in SC? Yes. I think you meant CSE. The answer is that we are still working on that. How will be the package in AI? Now, I would not like to answer that question. Okay. So once they have finished with this specialization, if they want to change the specialization from AI to any other specialization in computer science in MS, can they change? Well, it depends upon the particular specialization in CSE. That's a good question. So, for example, if you want to go to, say, network security as a specialization, I suppose you can. If you want to go purely to theoretical computer science, I'm not so sure. All right. So that is actually up to you. Now, just give me a second. Now, so I think someone there was a question and someone has answered. There was a question that can we I mean, in the sense, would it not be better to do a ME in AI? So it is the answer to that is that AI is becoming now more and more generic, so that you know, like when you do a master's, you can actually think of doing master's. That's the answer. That also is the same thing that I said. You can actually think of specializing in some specific themes which are being covered today in your master's. Is there any special webinar? Okay, so the thing is that it has been done and it is going to be put on YouTube shortly. What is the batch strength for this course? It says 30. Does MSc provide research programs? The answer is yes. So tell us about the ongoing research projects. Oh, that's a good question. So I am almost at the end, but there's still quite a lot of questions actually. So among the various ongoing research projects, we broadly classify into fundamentals and into theoretical aspects. So yesterday, I don't know if you were there when we spoke about the PhD programs. I think I'm running out of time, but just to tell you quickly, we are doing research in architectures of convolutional neural networks, different kinds of architectures for different kinds of specialized applications. We are trying to look at different kinds of innovative optimization schemes for training of artificial neural nets. Okay, then we are actually doing quite a lot of research in areas of clustering and fuzzy clustering and related subjects. Among applications, we are actually doing applications of game theory in industrial environments, which is actually a very novel way of looking at things. We are doing quite a lot of developments in doing forward prediction of, you can say in a sense, some kind of a conditional monitoring, or what we call as sequence modeling. Then we are doing research in say music, particularly the analysis of music and creating recommendation systems based on those kind of say music and related programs. We are doing condition monitoring of structures using artificial intelligence techniques. So all of these are research areas. All right. Now I think more or less I've answered most of the questions, I suppose. Will AI cover CS topics mostly computer related as well as specialized topics in AI? I think I've answered the 1219. Why did you ask this question? Have we not covered it already? Okay. What should be the rank in CAT? I think someone has already answered that question. Difference between AI and data science is answered. Can you mention about ongoing or future research project? That's already covered. So I think I'm what score? Okay, that thing is there AI along with machine learning and deep learning? The person who asked this question was not present in the early part of my presentation. The quick answer to that is yes. Okay. Can you tell about the computer science clubs and research which is going on? I think I'll skip that now because we're already running out of time. Definitely, there's a lot. I told you about the research, and there are computer science clubs also. Again, future research projects. Can I switch courses? I have no answer for that. From FAC, we allow very limited switching of courses. Let me just try to answer questions that are generic and which are, will there be campus recruits available? If so, which companies are you expecting 4 years down the line? 4 years down the line is a long period down the line. So we are actually getting quite a few companies already now, and they are recruiting most of our computer science graduates. So, and we expect only that those numbers to increase. Which branch has more future, AI or civil engineering? See, I mean, I can answer straight away, but I would not prefer to compare with any other course and answer in black and white terms. Okay, AI is most integrated with other products. Will a university cater to these products and train the students in that domain, or the themes what you said? Well, the answer to that question is really what do you mean by other products? So as I said, we have got two aspects of it. One is the foundations, and the other is the day-to-day things. And we are building up students for their careers with looking at both the aspects. Okay, just give me a second. All right. Now I think I've come to the end of the questions. Again, the themes have already been covered. So you please see the YouTube. If you have, many of the questions have already been answered, so you'll get it in the YouTube if you are really keen to see that. If I do BTech in AI, will I be able to what? Build a career in data science? The answer is yes. A lot of people asking the name of the YouTube channel. So the MSc provide research programs in computational natural sciences. The answer is yes. What mainly we are going to have about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Can you please elaborate? Do you give intro to neural? See, I cannot elaborate anything at this point. Neural networks, yes. I think these questions are going on and on. Can we, with BTech in AI, attend the placements of computer science streams? That would really depend on the company, and I think most of them, unless they're very specific about theoretical computer science aspects, I think you can attend. Right. I think I've come to the end. So that's about it. So so actually, the link to the YouTube channel is given here. So let me see if it is possible for me to copy and paste it. So the link to the YouTube channel, I don't know if I can paste it here or, well, anyway, I think our people will take care of, I mean, so which themes are needed to become a AI, that's already covered. There was a question about somebody in mechanical and trying to do something. Where was that? So there's a talk that if we study in MEC, we will get placements in Tech Mahindra. Is it true? The answer is yes. Can I change my course after admission? The answer is not no. So not no is not exactly the same as saying yes. All right. Now, which course will have better placements? Can I do AI while I'm doing mechanical? See, there will be elective courses and one can certainly take up different courses. So for example, even today, one has got machine learning, which is an elective course one can do from any of the branches if the basic mathematics is sound. All right. So I think that's it. And now I'll actually take leave because we have already overshot the time. Thank you very much. And we'll end here. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for